South Carolina born and bred, Collin Murray-Boyles is anything but conventional. At 6'7", he's smaller height-wise for a modern 4, but his strength, 7'1" wingspan, and feel more than make up for it. Ranked outside the top 100 in his high school class, the warts in CMB's game can turn off most people. In today's landscape, a shorter 4-man who can't shoot can be a non-starter for many. However, despite the shooting issues, CMB consistently impacts the game on both ends. After 2 years at South Carolina, he's blossomed into one of the most intriguing blends of defense, strength, mobility, and interior skill in the 2025 NBA draft. Recently picked 9th by the Raptors, there's been some concern on how he fits with Scottie Barnes and the rest of the roster. However, it's clear this is a talent play by Toronto, believing in his upside regardless of the fit. Is this the correct bet? Let's take a closer look at CMB's game and his fit on the Raptors. When you watch CMB pre-college, it's not hard to see why he was ranked outside the top 100 in high school. Although he was productive, it was tough to sell a perceived undersized 4 with shooting issues to most people. The offensive rebounding and finishing touch were present that would grow into a more important part of his arsenal in college. I think he also took a noticeable athletic leap once he reached a college level, becoming more explosive. At Wasatch Academy, he only attempted 3 dunks in 12 games, but that number jumped up to 26 dunk attempts as a freshman and 29 as a sophomore. Defense is harder to scout pre-college. While the outline of his impact was there, I believe he made a leap in this area as well, which we'll get into later. Overall, nothing in his pre-college tape really popped. CMB looked like a capable, smart, ground-bound traditional power forward in that context. Now let's get into the college tape and break down the improvements he made. It's impossible to discuss Murray-Boyles' game without mentioning his defense first. Built like an ox, CMB can take bumps anywhere on the floor and maintain his defensive position. When that's combined with his near-flawless defensive execution and rotations, you have a player who can both prevent baskets and save possessions. Over his 2 years at South Carolina, he consistently posted great steal and block numbers. The second side rim protection potential is special, posting a near 5% block percentage in both years at South Carolina. Timing of these rotations and sneaky length catch defenders off guard, consistently saving baskets with his awareness. Specifically, his hands are some of the best I've seen from a prospect in recent memory. CMB has strong, quick hands capable of ripping the ball at will and causing havoc on defense. He hovered around a 3% steal percentage in his freshman and sophomore year, indicating a multifaceted defender who can provide impact in multiple areas of defense. Murray-Boyles also showed improvement in his discipline, going from 4.1 fouls committed per 40 down to 3.3 in his sophomore year, while improving his stock percentage at the same time. As a switch defender, CMB projects as good to great, but probably not elite. He can definitely move his feet and can even switch onto guards for periods, but he's prone to getting beat at times. Although this can happen in moments, he still holds up well overall on an island against most players. I think the skill will be a positive for him in the NBA, but not one he really hangs his hat on defense. If you're drafting CMB, defense is the sell. This is his main appeal as a prospect. In today's league, where teams are playing faster than ever and are more spaced than ever, the strain being put on defenders has increased significantly. Having multiple players who can switch, roam, and help protect the rim is becoming all the more valuable, and CMB fits this to a T. I expected Murray-Boyles' defense to be at a high level considering his reputation. However, I was more intrigued to see what he had on the other end of the floor. Addressing the elephant in the room, CMB is not a good shooter. His mechanics are stiff and awkward, with very little rhythm and horizontal sway to it. This results in a lot of misses that end up short. When he doesn't have to think too much, the shot doesn't look that bad, but the more time he has to set, the worse it looks. The mechanical issues paired with a really low volume from 3 make his shooting outlook quite bleak. However, he looked more comfortable taking mid-range jump shots, and he showed improvement as a free throw shooter in both his years at South Carolina. If he's able to develop a mid-range and be a threat, it would perfectly complement his already impressive driving and finishing ability. Much like his defense, strength acts as a key pillar to CMB's offensive game. Though he's quicker than you think, CMB doesn't absolutely need to blow bad guys to gain an advantage. Any seam he's able to make is maintained and pried open with his special level of strength. If he gets a step by his defender, he's either finishing or getting fouled, and he did both at an elite level. CMB shot 67% at the rim this year and had a free throw rate of 56, which is quite high. He combines a functional handle with outlier strength. And when he gets to the rim, his touch is really impressive. Murray-Boyles had 3.2 drive possessions a game, shooting 58% from the field. Often under pressure with a defender right behind him, CMB is still able to softly lay it off the glass, going at full speed. He's frequently headed to the rim with a defender on his back, so this touch he has on the move bears a lot of fruit. One thing I'm concerned about, however, is how left-hand dominant he is. This made his drives and post-ups pretty predictable, and defenses were able to sit on his left hand. This is the area that has to be worked on as he makes the leap to the next level. Much like his drives, CMB's post-game is built around two things: strength and touch. He carves out deep positions using his frame, and once he's there, he rarely gets moved off his spot. Whether it's sealing early or backing his man down, he consistently creates good quality close-range looks. There is some face-up potential here as well. He has good short area explosion and is able to get to the rim well in these scenarios. He also is particularly great at sealing his man. Teams often fronted CMB as a response to his threat on the block. He was consistently able to pin his man and receive a high-low pass to take advantage and score at the rim. I think he could be a great early seal in transition or ducking guy due to his strength and great hands to catch the ball. Post-ups were actually his most used play type as a sophomore, with 104 possessions and an impressive 1.077 points per possession, good for 86th percentile. That kind of efficiency in the post, especially for a slightly undersized big, speaks to how well his strength and touch translate into real scoring value. He should be a very strong mismatch option on the block at the next level. Being a roll man is another avenue CMB can get downhill. He sets good, strong screens, allowing him to roll with space and utilize his driving and finishing ability discussed earlier. Due to his lack of height, he's not a great target for lobs, and most of his pick and roll scenarios end up in a post-up if the defense switches. But he showed enough to be a solid option as a roll man. The area I think he shows even more promise is as a ball handler in these pick and roll scenarios. South Carolina didn't run too much inverted pick and roll, but when they did, CMB always looked threatening. His downhill scoring and gravity is his main strength on offense. Running inverted pick and roll with a capable shooter will just allow him to get downhill more. Getting on the offensive glass has been a core part of CMB's game since high school. He's able to use his physicality to challenge for positions and strength to create space. His 7'1" wingspan combined with his strong hands resulted in a number of offensive rebounds. CMB posted a 12% offensive rebound rate as a freshman, which dropped down to 8.8 as a sophomore as his load increased. This can be a pillar he leans on early on in his NBA career when post-ups aren't really being called for him. Part of why CMB's driving and post-up game is so threatening is his ability to still playmake out of those possessions. His greatest strength as a passer is his quick decision making. Similar to his defensive processing, CMB is able to diagnose the current state of the court very quickly and act accordingly. The result is a strong, short roll playmaker and effective passer out of scramble situations. He has to lessen the amount of turnovers though, to be considered on a higher tier of passer. CMB's turnover percentage increased from 14.3 in his freshman year to 17.5 in his sophomore, scaling up with his usage and load. This is quite normal, but the truly elite passers are able to limit turnovers while taking on more load, something to keep an eye on in the future. That brings us to the phase framework, where I score each prospect across 5 key areas of the game. Each phase reflects a different part of a player's offensive or defensive impact, and helps paint a clearer picture of how they affect winning. Here's how CMB stacks up, both right now and his projected peak. In the creation phase, CMB's current score was 3.15 stars, and his potential score was 4.15 stars. While he's not a traditional initiator, his ability to operate out of post-ups, keep the ball moving in DHO sets, and drive downhill gives him more potential than I initially thought, especially when mismatched against slower bigs. In the advantage extension phase, CMB's current score was 2.5 stars, and his potential score was 3.78 stars. Although he can contribute well in this area, hitting the glass and cutting, him being a non-shooter at the 4 and not being able to draw hard closeouts hurt him here. In the conversion phase, CMB's current score was 2.45 stars, and his potential score was 3.85 stars. His non-shooting also held him down here a bit, but his superior and special interior finishing really buoyed his score. In the transition phase, CMB's current score was 2.8 stars, and his potential score was 3.8. Solid score here. He runs the floor hard, can fill lanes or handle and grab and go situations, and finishes well in space. Not an absolute game changer in transition, but he's a consistent contributor. In the defense phase, CMB's current score was 3.35 stars, and his potential score was 4.44 stars. As discussed earlier, CMB is a special defensive prospect, so it makes sense this is his most NBA ready phase and highest potential as well. Overall, when you total everything up, CMB ends with a weighted current score of 2.94 stars and a potential score of 4.09 stars. Considering defense was the most heavily weighted phase, and CMB scored excellently in it, it really pushed up his score overall. By far the highest current and potential score of all the prospects I've done a video on so far. I think the next step for this phase framework is to understand and contextualize the final score and what that actually means. Figuring out how these numbers equate to fringe starter, all-star, or all-NBA level would really enhance the way I evaluate prospects. Now that we've evaluated CMB as a prospect, let's wrap up with his fit on the Toronto Raptors. Defensively, CMB helps Toronto immediately. His switchability, strength, and rim protection are valuable for a team that gave up the 5th most shots at the rim last season, but ranked just 28th in blocks. With limited perimeter defenders, having another player who can clean up breakdowns is huge. He might even be able to guard some threes, allowing Scottie Barnes to roam some more, which is his best role defensively. Offensively, the fit is less clean. Toronto already struggles with spacing, and CMB's lack of shooting will help. But the Raptors systems run through their bigs. They rank 2nd in elbow touches and 6th in front court touches, looking to generate offense through cutting and high-low actions. They are 2nd last in assist percentage off those elbow touches, signaling that a lot of their initiation sets from the elbow don't directly lead to baskets. Even when they did lead to cut opportunities, Raptors ranked 2nd last in the league in points per possession on cuts, routinely missing inside shots. CMB doesn't solve their shooting issues, but he does help alleviate their finishing struggles. He's a reliable cutter, offensive rebounder, and interior scorer, areas where the Raptors often came up empty despite generating decent looks. Raptors ranked 17th in the league in drives. Outside RJ Barrett, there is very little slashing threat on the roster. Scottie, Ingram, and IQ aren't penetrative players, as they often look to settle for pull-up jumpers, so CMB stepping in and providing a driving threat could help a ton. Long term, the fit with Scottie Barnes is a fair concern. Both are non-shooting fours and like to populate the same areas on the floor. But team building can't be entirely fit-based. If the Raptors believe CMB has top 25, top 30 player upside, you don't pass that up just because he overlaps with Scottie. Worrying about fit too early when a team hasn't succeeded yet can lead to mistakes. It can lead to situations like trading Tyrese Halliburton for Sabonis just because you believe he's a better fit with Fox. Stars win in the NBA. Talent wins in the NBA. You take the best talent and figure out the rest later. That's why I believe the Raptors made the correct decision in drafting CMB even though they have Scottie on the roster. Collin Murray-Boyles isn't a finished product, but the defensive floor and offensive flashes are real. If he keeps developing his offhand and improving his shot, he could turn into a star-level two-way piece in the league. Let me know in the comments, would you have drafted CMB at 9 if you're the Raptors? And how do you see him fitting in Toronto? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more NBA draft breakdowns and deep prospect dives. I'm Taco Takes, I'll see you in the next one.